All right. Hi, my name is Cailin Greene, and I wanted to start the video by having you introduce yourself to our viewers.
Fabulous. I'm Colonel Philip Blair. I'm an MD. I've had 45 years in clinical practice, and I've recently discovered and I'm promoting a product called Beta Caryophyllene that has enormous potential for pain relief, mood control, and cancer effects.
And how did you come across, what would you call it, a terpene?
Yes, it's a terpene, but it's found in hemp. And initially, I was employed in the CBD industry. And one of the additives and one of the properties of CBD is that it typically, in a full spectrum, contains certain terpenes that are additive and provide an entourage effect. Now, I separated out this terpene and I've examined it and I've used it separately from CBD and from THC, and I found enormous benefits of it using it alone, so that it becomes a cannabis alternative.
And you say cannabis alternative, so most people think of an uplifting mood. How would you describe the benefits or the feeling or the reaction of the beta caryophyllene?
Now, beta caryophyllene is particularly targeted as an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory, but it has a number of neurotransmitter effects, particularly on mood. It immediately, within 10 minutes, it gives you pain relief and it gives you mood uplifting effects. Feelings of well-being coincide with the use of it, and it only takes 10 minutes to get effect.
I've taken it personally myself, and I noticed that for me, what I like is the mental clarity part of it. I know I have ADD or ADHD, so it's, I feel like I always have something running in the background. I can never fully be present in a situation because my mind is always going in the background. And I know that I noticed with this that all that background noise stopped and I had mental clarity. Is that something that is normal with the use of this product?
Yes, it relieves anxiety, it controls depression, it controls, it creates a mental focus. It also encourages targeted activity, and so you can stay focused and get things done in a targeted manner.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I've been taking it religiously for the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if this is related, but I also stopped smoking my vape. I never smoked cigarettes, but I had, picked up the horrible habit of smoking a vape. And I mean, the last 2 weeks I haven't needed or craved it. I don't know if I've
Now,
just
that's a
been
very,
so happy. Yeah, go ahead. Is that something associated with that?
one of the other properties of it is that it's anti-addictive. It actually goes to the hippocampus in the brain and controls the pleasure principles of the brain, and it eliminates addictive behaviors for cocaine, for alcohol, for nicotine, for THC, and methamphetamines. And it also blocks the effects of benzodiazepines. But it actually acts on the opioid receptors as a receptor agonist, and it encourages and it gives you pain relief through that mechanism.
Amazing. Yeah, I've noticed that I haven't even wanted to, the urge isn't even there. So
one of the other things you may have noticed is an energy that comes over you. It has metabolic effects, and so that you become energized. It actually stimulates the mitochondria of the body, and it releases additional energy, and it switches your fat from white fat to brown fat, and it helps your weight loss by diminishing your appetite, but also shifting your energy.
Man, I'm gonna drink more of that.
Yeah, the weight stuff.
I like the weight loss perspective of that. What do you think if someone's going to try it, how would you have them assess themselves prior to taking a sample of this?
So the first thing I have people do is check their vision and notice the detail that they can see with their vision, the amount of light that comes in. Then I will have them check for the warmth of their face and their chest. Next, I ask them to check for a range of motion of a joint, because many people have restrictive motion. And I want them to assess their pain levels in different areas of the body. Then I want them to take a deep breath and examine their excursion of their diaphragm, because that's another favorable benefit that comes from it. And then I want them to think about their mood and what kind of mood that they're in, and their feelings at the current time. And I also want them to examine their anxiety level. Typically, we're in a conversation, people are anxious and talking about things. And then their mental focus and what they can do with that. So that's a quick rundown of most of the parameters that happen that people can get benefits from.
Okay, and then you said approximately 10 minutes after that, they should be noticing, one, if not all of those effects.
I say 10 minutes, but often happens in 5 minutes. It happens in 3 minutes in some people. And
Wow.
the dose is anywhere from 5 drops to a whole milliliter. 5 drops represents about 1/4 of a milliliter. 15 drops of the vial is typically half a milliliter, and 30 drops is a full milliliter, but it's calibrated on the dropper on the bottle.
I've been taking a full milliliter, so is that a full dose?
Well, it comes from a natural food source, and so it's the same thing as eating the food, but it in a highly bioavailable fashion. It gets so well absorbed, particularly through the mucous membranes, but also through the digestive tract. And so I tell people to balance the dose with their optimization of their performance. And so it becomes performance-based rather than dosage-based. And so some people get relief with 5 drops, great, but other people require 1 or 2 milliliters a couple times a day in order to get that benefit. And I usually like to have people take it twice a day.
Okay, so I think that, would you recommend someone trying half a milliliter just to start and work their way up, or it's totally safe to take the full milliliter? Like you said, it's a food additive, basically.
That's right. It depends on the situation. Now, if somebody's really sensitive to different drugs and substances, I want them to just take 5 drops, because they could have an overabundance of reaction to it. And the reaction that they might get would be fatigue or sleepiness. Now, but for most people, a half a milliliter is okay. And then if they take a half a milliliter, then to reassess themselves after 10 minutes. And if they are getting the benefits, great, they can keep it at that dose. But if they don't get any benefits, then I want them to immediately take another half a milliliter and get it up to a whole milliliter. And then they can assess the benefits. And most often they do get the benefits from that level. Also, if you're a very large person, you may have to take more.
Okay. All right. And I noticed you said something about sleep. I've been waking up before my alarm clock. I don't know if this is just because I'm not staying out till 2 in the morning, but
it's definitely a factor in sleep. It improves the quality of sleep that you have. It increases the depth and the range of your sleep quality, and it actually can increase the duration of your sleep. Now, typically there is an enhancement of REM sleep, which is your dream state, and deep sleep, which is where you get most of your recovery from. And so it's really enhancing your recovery from all stresses that you encounter.
I've noticed, like, just being more rested. I think I'm getting about the same hours, but I wake up and I just feel overall so much better because I've had that good sleep.
And you're refreshed in the morning when you wake up too. There's no drug effect. There's no side effects from it either.
Right. No, I love it. Like I said, I'm waking up before my alarm, which is unheard of. So
one of the particular features of it is it's an FDA approved substance. It has no toxicity. There's no drug interactions. And so you can take it with whatever drugs that you're on currently. And then if the BCP handles the problem, then you can actually deprescribe or eliminate those other drugs as you need to, as you can.
Okay, and I did notice you said something about if you're on any other prescription medication or anything. Would this product affect someone if there were to be a drug test? I know you said it was derived from hemp. Is that going to be an issue for anybody who wants to?
Now, this product is derived from clove leaf. And so
Okay.
there's no relationship to hemp at all. And so
Oh,
it's
okay.
completely safe. That's why I've advertised it as a cannabis alternative. Yet it holds all of the benefits of cannabis in a number of different factors, connecting with a number of different cannabinoid receptors in the body.
Great. So then that's even perfect. I'm glad we cleared that up, because I know as a teacher, I know my paramedic friends, they aren't able to try things derived from cannabis like Delta 8 because there's a possibility of it showing up on a test. So that's great. This is something everybody can try.
But it really works well with cannabis. It's part of the entourage in cannabis, but it synergizes with the cannabinoids very effectively. So you get cannabis, and BCP will enhance the effectiveness. But most people have to reduce the THC dose when they get it, because they're getting pain relief and they don't need as much. And the THC can actually enhance the high that you get from it.
Amplifies the THC products that you're using. That's great. I mean, I know a lot of people would love to save money on their cannabis.
Well, don't tell that to the pot shops.
Yeah, right. Exactly. No, yeah. Well, this has been a great interview. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you just feel that you have to tell the consumers?
There's two properties of BCP that are extraordinary. One is allergies. It is highly effective in allergic symptoms. So if somebody has allergic seasonal allergies or mast cell activation, which is a kind of common allergic phenomena that is permeating the population. About 15% of people have it. This will reverse that. It blocks the histamine reactions, and you can put a few drops on the nose and it will clear your sinuses right away. The other factor that I want to point out is that it's anti-cancer. It is magnificently anti-cancer. It has magnificent anti-cancer effects that are superb. It's been studied in a number of preclinical work. It's been recommended for other clinical studies, but it has not actually been tested. It has terrific properties to negate the cancer, both in killing cancer cells and preventing cancer cells.
Wow, is that how you discovered it? Because I know you're working on in cancer research.
That's exactly right. I was introduced to it by a chiropractor who was using it on an animal who had bowel cancer, and it cleared the bowel cancer in a matter of days.
That's amazing. Well, I didn't even know all that. And as far as the allergy, I was actually just with a girlfriend that I had just met, and I told her, I'm like, oh, you have to try this stuff. And she's like, I can't, I'm allergic to absolutely everything. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want you to break out in some reaction, but it sounds like this would have actually helped her.
So for people like that, I tell them, okay, I know you're sensitive, but this is hypoallergic. And so I want you to try it. And I want you to put a drop on the back of your hand. If you don't have any reactions, then put a few more drops on it. And if you don't have any reactions from that, then take one drop orally and see if you have any problems with that. I've never seen an allergic reaction to it.
Okay. Well, maybe she will volunteer to try this now with that information. I mean, the anti-cancer and the anti-allergy is amazing. So I'm really excited. I use the product every day. I love it. So thank you for introducing it to me.
It's such a pleasure, and it's so exciting to hear these types of benefits from just an immediate dose and from long-range benefits that occur with it. It's so thrilling to see something like this, that it's an adaptogenic element that hits on all of the key targets of the body and signaling compounds to reduce inflammation, to reduce cancer, to reduce metabolic diseases. It covers everything.
So like an adaptogen.
Right.
Doesn't that also regulate your hormones?
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Well, adaptogen just means that it's very flexible, and it always does the right thing for the right part of the body. And that's what this adaptogen does. It always is doing the right thing for the right part of the body for the right conditions.
I mean, it seems like you know everything about everything. Can you just really quick, I know you kind of touched on your background, but can you give us, I guess, your full background of how you got started and
Well, I went to West Point and I went to medical school shortly after. I went to University of Miami School of Medicine and I studied family practice in Georgia. I did a tour of duty for 24 years in the Army, and I was in the Gulf War. In 1996, I retired from the Army, and then I went into a disease management program that was treating kidney disease. And I was using a dietary method for that and working with dietitians. From there, I was working with individual employee health programs and advising them on recommending their therapy for dietary. And that's when I learned about cannabidiol, and I started incorporating cannabidiol in the employee health arena. But I was also having thousands of patients that I was treating with cannabidiol. When I was working with cannabidiol, I learned about beta caryophyllene, and that's where I've shifted my entire practice to beta caryophyllene. Although I still use CBD on occasion for magnifying and enhancing the benefits of all cannabinoid therapy.
it's amazing. Well, you seem that you have done so much in your life, and you said you were a colonel as well
That's right.
in the Army.
Yes.
I don't know the hierarchy. Is that
Well, that's
it
just
sounds
below
like it's
general.
pretty, okay, I said it sounds like it's pretty high. Well, excuse me for not knowing that, but now you just told everybody else who may have had the same question.
And I really want to reach out to military veterans because this could be so valuable for them, both for PTSD and for traumatic brain injury, many of the problems and the chronic pain that they face, as well as cancers. There's so many things that this could impact on them. I would really like to get more of them using this.
Or do you think with the beta caryophyllene and maybe the anxiety reduction for PTSD, or
Oh,
how does that?
it could be magnificent for PTSD. What I've seen in patients is that when they get exposed to the beta caryophyllene, they start to think more clearly. It doesn't stop the memories of that PTSD event, but it allows them to focus on them clearly and define it in their mind so that they can extinguish the memories and the adverse effects from it. You know, when you get a PTSD, there's a fight or flight chemical response with that. And what BCP does is it seems to neutralize that chemical response. So you don't get anxious, you don't get worried, you don't get adverse effects from it. And you can deal with the problem consciously and rationally and have it resolve in your mind.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in the military and are veterans, and
But it's
I
not just the military who have PTSD. There's a huge number of primary care responders and that have the major problems, and women are disproportionately affected by traumatic issues as well.
you don't have to sell me on it. I think it's amazing. I love it, and I really thank you for your time, and I hope to talk to you soon with any more follow-up questions that myself or some of our viewers may have.
I would be happy to answer them.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time.
You bet.
All right. Bye.
Kate O'Hara or Kate?
Hey. That's quite all right. That's the first time, and you did excellent. I thought you did very, very well.